everyone, Tim Howard back for another spring sports preview. This time it is boys lacrosse, where I'm looking forward to another great season. We've got a ton of athletes that have already committed to colleges, and the team I'm going to start with first has 9 of those college commitments or signees, and that's Hoggard, who for the first time will be under the direction of a new coach this year, as Colin Smith takes over for Doc Treman, who was there for a very long time and did a great job running the Hoggard program and basically winning conference championships every year he was there, I believe. The bar is set really high for Coach Smith, and I think he'll do a fantastic job with the Vikings, who are extremely talented this year, led by Aiden Flynn, Zach Coyle, I can keep naming them, Jake Stone, and Caden Holler. And then face-offs, you got Jeremy Conklin, Cole Larson, and then probably the 2 best goalkeepers in the area, and Ben Long and Tommy Berge, who are both college commits. So just a plethora of talent for the Vikings, who will be the favorites to win the conference this year again. And I know they want to make a deeper playoff run than they did last year. Got knocked out, I think, a little sooner than they anticipated last year. And so with a strong presence in goal, certainly will always keep them in the game. They do need to replace a lot on defense, so we'll see how that group can mature as the season goes on, because a lot of the defensemen from last year were seniors and have now gone on to play in college. So that's the one area maybe of a little weakness for Hoggard that they'll have to figure out, but I feel like by the end of the season they'll be just fine back there, and probably won't have to be back there often because they'll win a lot of face-offs and will be able to control possession in the midfield. Team that I think could certainly challenge them, Ashley, has some great individual players. I don't know overall team depth if they have enough to compete with the Vikings, but certainly some terrific just individual players. All 3 of these names I'm going to list 2-sport athletes, which is always great to see. I love to see athletes compete in multiple sports, and certainly I think the sports help each other, help out in different areas, and so I think that's one reason why these 3 are so good is because they do play other sports and develop maybe other skill sets from those sports that can certainly help them in lacrosse. But Brody Deutsch, a great goal scorer for Ashley. Keenan Everhart, Mr. Do-It-All for Ashley, can score goals for him if they needs to. Most of the time he's kind of running the show and dishing out assists, though, and he does a good job of getting back on defense as well. So he's one of those midfielders that plays on both sides and really can lock down as a defender or can score goals on the offensive end. And then probably the best long stick midi in the area, Burke Tribble, has been a standout for the Screaming Eagles since he was a freshman, now a junior, and plays that position, like I said, as good as anyone in the area. Laney will certainly compete again this year. They lost to Hoggard in the playoffs last year, but they've got Carson Adkins back, and Fields Woodard will be a good player for them, and plenty of other pieces. I know some freshmen came in that Coach Ken Broomfield is really excited about, so look for Laney to be in the mix, and Topsail I think also will certainly be in the mix. They're a program that has been elevated the last couple of years, and they did really well when they were in the 3A, making it, I think, to the East Final a couple times. Now they're a 4A school, so they're having to adjust to play in some better competition, but I think Topsail will have a good season, especially I think they're one of the better defensive teams in the area with Luke Hobbs and Nick Allard leading the way. They were both Coastal Preps second team members last year. Connor Henson will score a lot of goals for them, and then the midfield got Alex Davis and Ronan McGuire, who are 2 really talented players in the midfield. So look for those 4 schools, Ashley, Hoggard, Laney, Topsail, to be the cream of the crop. But the Brunswick County schools are certainly catching up a little bit. Lacrosse in Brunswick County is very, very new, and really the surprise story of last year was North Brunswick, having never won a game to winning the 3A portion of the conference last year and getting a first-round bye in the playoffs. Unfortunately, they fell short in the second round, but I expect the Scorpions to be very strong again, and I think that they will probably be the class of the 3A. They've got 6 starters back over there in Leland, so we'll see if they can elevate now to the next level and win a playoff game. That will be the next step for them. In the private schools, Cape Fear Academy, our only private school that has lacrosse, and they are the defending state champions. So they were able to win the NCISAA Division II state championship last year. It was just the second in program history, and although they did lose a lot of pieces, they grabbed 2 really impact transfers that are certainly going to help them, and maybe the best player in Wilmington, and Kyle McCarthy, who transferred over from Hoggard, has now reclassified, and so we'll be playing his junior year at Cape Fear Academy this year. And then Ashley transfer, Luis Gonzalez, has also transferred over to Cape Fear Academy and is reclassified. So they're both juniors this year for the Hurricanes. They've also got Nick Spinola, who I know had a hat trick in the state championship game last year. So the Hurricanes, very strong in the midfield and attack. We'll see how they are defensively. I know they have to replace goalkeeper Owen Johnson, who was really solid for them for several years. So we'll have to find some pieces in the back, to fill in for some of those players that have now graduated. But certainly expect Cape Fear Academy to be right in the thick of things when it comes to the postseason. And I think it's going to be a really good season for boys lacrosse, sport that I'm still getting familiar with and still trying to learn as much as I know about the other sports. I just never played lacrosse growing up, so it's still a sport that I'm still learning as I go along. I've now been covering it for over a decade, so I feel fairly familiar with it. But if I'm ever at a game and you see a confused look on my face, or if I am up in the stands and need to ask you a question, be prepared for it, because it's just not one of the sports that I'm most familiar with. But I enjoy covering it. I think it's a lot of fun, super exciting to watch. If you have not been out to a lacrosse match, it's very physical. Reminds me quite a bit of football, but also has a little basketball in it too, because you'll see defenses playing some zone or manning up. So it's got a good combination of several other sports. So I'd encourage you to get out there and check it out. Looking forward to getting out to some games and covering them, and looking forward to a great season. Hope you guys will follow along with me on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Just search Coastal Preps. You'll be able to find me on all those platforms. Of course, the games I'm not at will be in daily roundups every night, and then those games that I do cover, you'll be able to find photo galleries and recaps on the website later that night. Hope you guys are enjoying the previews, and stick around for some more over the next coming days, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.